This is your Chapter 6 midterm review. These are going to be questions similar to the ones that will be on your midterm. So the first type of problems that they want us to do on Chapter 6 are solve and graph the inequality on a number line, okay? So we're going to solve these problems just like we would any equation, okay? The only thing different is whenever we multiply or divide by a negative number, what happens to my inequality sign? It flips. Very good. Okay, so we've got to keep that in mind, and then we will graph at the end. So first step here, what should I do? Distributive property, and I have 5x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 21x plus 12. So now I want to combine like terms. So I want to get my x's on the left and my constants, or the numbers that are all alone, on the right. So I subtract 21x. I'm also going to go ahead and subtract 10, so I can move everything in one step. 5 minus 21x is negative 16x is greater than or equal to 12 minus 10 is 2. So now I'm going to divide, but what am I going to divide by here? A negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say x is now less than or equal to, what is 2 over negative 16? Negative 1/8. Very good. We must reduce. So this is part of my answer right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to graph this. So I'm going to do negative 1/8 in the middle, because that's the number I'm dealing with. Then what is a number smaller than negative 1/8? Negative 1. What's a number larger than negative 1/8? 0. You can do it like that, or you could do negative 2/8 and then 0. Either one, that'd be fine. Okay, negative 2/8 would be smaller. Now, am I going to have an open circle or a closed circle? Closed. And which direction am I going to shade? To the left or to the right? To the left. Okay, so the next problem here, where is the x in this equation? In the middle. Where does the x have to stay? In the middle, okay? So I'm trying to get everything out of the middle and get x by itself there. So what should I do first? Add 18. And whatever I do to the middle, okay, I've got to do to the beginning and to the end. So negative 10 plus 18 is 8, less than or equal to 4x, less than or equal to 48. Now I'm going to take everything and I'm going to divide it by 4. And I'm going to divide 4 by the beginning and the end. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, is less than or equal to, x is less than or equal to 12. And now x is all alone in the middle. So basically what this means, this is our compound inequality. And I know that x is going to fall between the numbers 2 and 12. So I've got to include 2 and 12 on my number line. And I want to put them in order. What's a number that's in between 2 and 12? 6. We'll put that there. Okay? Doesn't matter which one you choose as long as you choose a number between 2 and 12. What type of circle am I going to have over the 2? Closed. What type of circle am I going to have over the 12? Closed. Now, because x is between 2 and 12, should I shade opposite or should I connect the dots? Connect the dots, because we want to shade everything between the numbers 2 and 12. So next problem here, we have negative 3 is greater than x plus 6, or negative x is less than 4. What is important in that problem? Well, there's a lot of important stuff, but there's a certain word. Or. That must be in our answer, because I know x is going to be this way or it's going to be that way, okay? So let's solve for x in the first problem. What would I do? Subtract 6, and we get negative 9 is greater than x. But can I leave it that way? No. Let's write x is less than negative 9. What word do I need to drop down? or, because remember it has to be in your answer. Then what do I need to do on the next problem? Divide by -1, what's going to happen to my sign? Flip it. X is less than -9 or X is greater than -4. This is my answer. So it's either going to be one way or the other. So when I have an OR problem, we put the smallest number to the left, so -9, -4. I usually do a number smaller than -9, larger than -4. And you don't really need a number between them because when we shade, am I going to have an open circle or a closed circle over -9, sorry. Open, and I'm going to shade to the left because it's going to go either less than -9 or it's going to go greater than -4. Or problems will always be shaded opposite with the type of problems that we are going to work with. So then the next type of problems are the absolute value problems. Absolute value problems always have how many answers? 2. Always 2. So when I look at my absolute value equation, there's absolutely nothing for me to graph because it's an equation. X is going to equal a certain number. And there's no, okay, it's going to be this number or anything smaller than it. So we just solve these. Now, how do I come up with 2 problems? What do I do? Drop the bars. First, I make sure that the absolute value bars are all alone. Yep, that's the only thing on that left side. So now I can drop the bars. X plus 7 equals 15. And then X plus 7 equals what? -15. So there are my 2 problems. Now all I need to do is solve and I'll get my 2 answers. So I subtract 7 and X is equal to 8. There's one of my answers. Subtract 7, and X is equal to -22. Like I said, there's no graphing because X is equal to 8. It can't be numbers smaller than 8. It can't be numbers larger than 8. And X is equal to -22. It's not numbers smaller than -22 or larger. These are my answers, so there's no graphs. But on the next one, look what I notice. What is on the same side with the absolute value bars? -3. So that -3 must be moved before I change my problem, okay? What am I going to do to the -3? Add it. Very good. And I'm going to add it to the 6 back here. So now I can drop the bars. 2x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 9. And I'm going to do 2x plus 1. What happens when I have an inequality sign? Flip it, less than or equal to, and what happens to the 9? -9. And I say, wait a second, we didn't flip the sign on the equals problem. Right, because what's the alternate version of an equals? There isn't one. Greater than and less than has 2 versions, so we have to flip the sign in the inequality and with the number. Okay, so now I just solve like I would a regular problem. Subtract 1, 2x is greater than or equal to 8. Divide by 2, X is greater than or equal to 4. That's one of my answers. Then the next problem, I'm going to subtract 1. 2X is less than or equal to -10. Divide by 2, and X, do I need to flip my sign here? No, because I'm not dividing by a negative number. 10 is negative, but I did not move a negative number over. So 10 is less than or equal to -5. Now, I've got to pay attention because either I'm going to connect the dots or they're going to go opposite. Do not look at the arrows. If you go, oh, look, the arrows are pointing towards each other, so I must shade in between. Absolutely not. Because look what's where. Is -5 smaller or bigger than -4? Smaller. So on my number line, -5 is going to go here. And +4 is going to go here. So I'm going to draw my closed circle. And now we can look at the direction of the arrow. Which way should I shade? To the left. Then on the 4, we're going to have a closed circle. And look at the direction of my arrow. Which way should I shade? To the right. Now, when can I not trust the direction of the arrows? When X is not in the front, when x is on the back. So like on the problem that we did with the compound where the x was in the middle, I cannot trust the way that the arrows are going because x is not at the front of both of those. Okay? And last but not least, on this chapter 6, do I have to graph this problem, first of all? No, because it's an equation. But what do I have to do first? Subtract 2. Very good. Now I can drop the bars. 7x plus 3 is equal to 31. And 7x plus 3 is equal to negative 31. Subtract 3 on both sides. 7x is equal to 28. Divide by 7, and x is equal to 4. Then I'm going to subtract 3 on this side. 7x is equal to negative 34. Divide by 7. Can 7 go into 34 evenly? No, so I can just leave it as negative 34 over 7. Or if you wanted to, you could do negative 4 and 6/7. That would be fine. Okay, so does anybody have any questions over chapter 6? Okay, so that is the review for chapter 6.